I put this on to pay homage to Godland, and I fear I'm just giving Jan that rusical. Hi, hello everyone, my name is Jer, and you are watching Channel 4. Oh that's fresh. This week was a good one. The queens are tasked with probably my favorite design challenge of all time, and that is to take a prior archived look from their last run on Drag Race and do an upscaled version of it this week. And they did exactly what I thought they would do by duping Project Runway's format and requiring the girls to choose another look from within the room. I think it would have been a more interesting twist if they all got to take their outfit thinking that they were going to recycle it and then have to choose someone to give it to. I digress. It also features a second runway category where they have to do a redemption of a prior look that they've done on Drag Race. I wish that every single All-Stars would do this challenge. It made me so happy in season 3 of Mainline and in season 6. I believe they did this in UK too as well. Please always give us this challenge, Drag Race. And I think in a season like this where half the girls are out prior to episode 4, it's a good opportunity for them to showcase more of their looks that they did not get to do the first time and be a more elevated version of themselves now. There is no mini challenge this week, and I wonder if Drag Race UK versus the world is going to hate them as much as season 8 does right now. And for the Maxi challenge, Hannah Fontana gets to choose the look that she is going to upscale first, and then the girls go in turn until it reaches Minty Fresh, who is the last to pick. And as some additional drama, she gets to steal an outfit from someone else in the room. That's a gag. But it did set her up for her inevitable bottom placement, I fear. Because if you're gonna make a big swing, you have to back up those plays with bigger moves. And I don't think she did that. Her choice to steal leaves Godland with Fontana's mesh look, which absolutely nobody wanted because there was such little fabric. But am I the only one here that kind of saw that lack of material as a low-key advantage? Because there's no fabric, there's a lot you can riff off of. And mesh is a drag queen's best friend. You could take pretty much any accent color or any accent fabric, anything that's in the right color palette for you, and add that mesh to it, either on top of or underneath. There are a lot of opportunities for this fabric to look couture and interesting. I also want to point out that Ru's energy is distinctly different this season than on season 18. It looks like she's so happy to be here in a way that is kind of missing from mainline Drag Race. And I wonder if that's why they held on to this for so long, because they knew that season 18 wasn't going to be received well, so they had to have something alternating with 18 to kind of balance out the energy. Last year, during season 17, the energy was great. Ru was super happy to be there, the queens were fun, the challenges were pretty decent. I don't think they needed anything distracting from it, so there wasn't any distraction on Drag Race. This year they're sort of look over there-ing with UK versus the World 3, and I think there's a reason for that. Because they could have released this back in fall. Some story adjustments that are happening this week. The girls are seeing Godland as a viable threat for the crown, and I think it's good that they're finally waking up. Sminty is so much more comfortable with her voice and presence this season than she was in UK 4, and I'm glad to see her be a bigger presence in the workroom and embracing who she is now. And Team UK was extremely united this episode, seemingly completely flip-flopping from their ambivalent, not really sure what they wanted to do last week as far as aligning with each other. And lastly, I've seen more from Godland in just this episode personality-wise than the entirety of Drag Race Thailand Season 3, reminding me once again why I liked this girl so much and why I hated the production of that season so badly. Because they did a terrible job at managing each one of these contestants. It was awful. Last thought, Kristen McMenemy needs to be a permanent judge because she was freaking hilarious. In her speech on why she was there and filling in for someone who called out, she's there to put out a fire and light a new one. That's diva alert, and she looked so puss this week. So let's talk about these looks. We have a RuDemption look and a Ru mix look to get through, and there are a lot of them. Again, I love that they got a dual runway because this is a great opportunity to showcase more of their drag that they didn't get to do the first time around. And a lot of them worked me out. I did disagree on a lot of the placements, but we'll get into that as we go. Godland is first up, and for RuDemption, she is doing Thai Future. The Thai Future, if I'm not mistaken, was a part of the ball of season 3, episode 2, which was the longest 15-minute cut of You Wear It Well. I cannot listen to that song anymore because they didn't change the runway song for each 3 categories. It just was You Wear It Well Category 1, Category 2, Category 3. So if I ever hear that song again, I'm blocking RuPaul. This was the episode where Godlin was told in her original season that she wasn't being present and that she needed to essentially wake up. And I think she was wide awake here. Being on stilts is an impressive feat, to be sure. The wings are impressive as hell. I love how much texture is present in those and the varied lengths of them. The silver flecks on the eyes is interesting. I like the different incorporations of that color, but I kind of hate the nude. Overall, it's a slay, and I agree with her top placement because of both looks in conjunction with each other. And for Rumix, oh my god, it's so punk rock, but it's somehow very shotgun to me. I like that she referenced her own original look. I enjoy her styling, and she's got this presentation of, I'm so hot. I know I look good. Y'all can't tell me nothing. I can't be bothered to do anything than be fierce. I absolutely with that energy. She did a good job at transforming the little that Fontana had in that look, turning it into this interesting dress inspired by these punk elements, and she melded herself perfectly into it. For having a look that she wasn't sold on, that she really didn't want, she turned it out, I think. It's a slay. This was a great elevation from the original look. Sminty is up next, and for RuDemption, she is doing Neon Nights. She's like an alien snot creature, she said. I like the adjustments of the look since the previous one was more feathery. I feel like Michelle said something about Marie Antoinette because that's probably when her hatred started. This is a hard color to make look good, and I think she looks very sexy. It's a slay. I guess my only critique is that it is such a departure from the original look. I wouldn't immediately remember that this was Neon Nights. And then for Rumix, body tee down. I do not personally love a pussy ruche like that. I can't lie for even a second. The wet hair look on her is hot. I think normally that doesn't work me out severely, and so I think it is good here. But overall, it's not much of a look for me. I said for me. The original look has this sick print, and she incorporated quite literally none of that. It just retained the black and the white. This, I think, was Godlin's Clown is Sexy and I Know It runway. Don't even ask me about the Thailand 3 runways. They're insane. And this look is kind of missing the clownery of that original piece. I think I wanted to see the pieces utilized better since that original look is so sick, and this is just cool and punk rock adjacent. It's still a light slay, but for me it's missing some elements that elevated it from the original look while also retaining pieces of it. Serena Morena is next, and for RuDemption she's doing Flowers of Mexico. Oh no, girl, not this Lily look again. The makeup glow up, I will say, is incredible. So on that end, it is a RuDemption, but it's pretty much the exact same thing beat for beat. And I think what a lot of the original problem was of this look is that it was too literal for Flowers. And I don't think the silhouette worked very well on her because she's so tiny. I like that she maintained that previous hairstyle. If it's right, it's right. I enjoy that she kept the original shape. I enjoy that she adjusted the fabric choices. It's immediately recognizable as to what this is supposed to be. But is it maybe a little too Yara Sofia doing her promo look kind of beat for beat, and not enough of Aja doing Princess Disaster, perhaps? Like, you could maintain a lot of what you did originally and make it better. This kind of is just, okay, copy my homework, but don't make it look too similar. This is what you saw online, and the original is what you get in the mail. I will say, I kind of like the bodice of the previous look better. I prefer a cup shape breast as opposed to the straight line of this gold corset. Had that maybe been sculpted a bit, I would have liked it more. I think the length is slightly better. It is rhinestone to death. It's a soft serve slay. And then for Rumix, I like the capelet that she created using those leaflets of sequin fabric. The look is definitely giving me the sluttiest temp from the secretarial pool that got a Tyra makeover and like life-sized or something. I think she worked well with that fabric. It's a good upcycle and transformation, and infusing some classic Serena Morena. I think she did a good job, all things considering. I wasn't sure how she was gonna do here. It's a slay overall. Melinda Verga is next, and for RuDemption, she's doing her out of the closet look. This is a quintessential Melinda moment on Drag Race. I like how she adjusted these color palettes to the red tartan. I think it's very clear what she was leveling up to me. I absolutely get the Vivienne Westwood, but I also see a little Amy Winehouse. However, I did not love that she kept pulling the front of the skirt up to reveal her undies. That was an odd choice to me. I do think it's a good adjustment from the original look. I agree that it could have been cinched maybe a bit more in the waist, but I think it's strong regardless. I don't think this was a bottom performance or a bottom look. And then for Room Mix, I think she's created a very clean and sleek look, but there's not a lot to evaluate. In my opinion, when you make a simple look like this, the very little that you're wearing has to be kind of exciting. And she did, I think, a disservice to herself by talking about how she has studied fashion and knows how to construct. That put her at an automatic disadvantage in the eyes of RuPaul, I think, because I think it sets her as being more skillful than what this dress could have been. It's sort of like why you never tell the choreographer that you're a dancer, because then they're going to expect you to work harder than everyone else. You set the bar low so that they don't think anything of you, and then you do something either impressive or exciting, or you just stay right at base level. Then no one's thought anything less of you because you didn't work it out. In my opinion, this lacks a lot of visual cohesion to the original piece. She said it was supposed to be this ombre effect, but I don't see the ombre at all under these lights, so that's a bit of a fail. It is totally transformed though into something new, so I guess challenge succeeded? I don't hate the look, but I don't love it either. The Only Naomi is next, and for RuDemption, she is doing her fetish glow up look. It's like a cocoon, you know, like a cocoon, and there's a butterfly in the cocoon, and it's coming down the runway. These dresses where the fabrics are soaked first before being laid and then draped while wet are super trendy right now. I blame Mistress for that, or credit. The shape is insane in the best way possible. I think it is drastically better than that original look. I like that a lot of the queens chose to invert their color palettes from their original looks, and I think that was a great choice here. I would not personally immediately think of white as fetish, but it works in these textures quite well. The makeup and blush was orgasmic. I love this. It's a slay. And then for Room Mix, this is not very transformed from the original look. It is far too similar. The fact that she just kept half of it and didn't do anything with it, I think is a problem. But to be completely fair and to advocate for her, I think that she was sabotaged a bit by having this look. It has these mini rhinestones glued to it in pretty much every crease and crevice. And to puncture that with a thread and needle would break. You would never be able to sew that in the amount of time that Drag Race gives you to construct. To work with a garment like that is pre-stoned, you would need to spend an entire day individually picking off every one of those small stones and then washing off the adhesive so that also didn't get stuck to your needle. And she just doesn't have that amount of time on Drag Race. So it's either completely scrap the look and basically don't use anything except for that velvet, or maintain some of the silhouette. She could have hand stitched some pieces, but that would have taken hours. And I don't know if her sewing skills are that good to individually sit and hand stitch hems. That would literally be like 8 to 12 hours depending on your skill level, especially depending on the design you wanted to create. And so advocating for her, I don't think this was the best dress to have despite it being visually interesting. It just doesn't work unless you've got the time to rip off every one of those stones, and she just didn't. It's a gargantuan task to put in front of a drag queen and say, hey, make this different. This is essentially the exact same thing that Nini Coco did just last week in the design challenge with the animal print and the colorful draping over it. I do like the draping of the shoulders, but that piece on the hips that's dangling off the back like a limp scrotum just lacks a lot of perspective. I don't think it's bad necessarily overall, but it's a miss on the challenge, which was to take that look and make it new and make it her. So I have to chop it only for the reason that it doesn't meet the brief. Kate Butch is next. Woof! For RuDemption, she is redoing her Slaycation look. It's like budget Ursula at a high school production where they didn't want to do purple for copyright reasons. So they call her like Blursula. This hair choice is insanity. It looks like she stuck her finger in a light socket. It is a pretty faithful recreation of the original, but why do I like that original look better? I disliked the abundance of the net fabric on this one, but I will say the bodysuit was better. I like the concept of that mini dress made from the net, but maybe it could have been a tighter material so it was less athleticism on that bodysuit. And this is where styling is key and super important, because this could have been a fairly fun look. But I think the hair takes it somewhere else, like to a clown show. I'm sorry, this is terrible. It's a chop, like a double chop. Chop on the original look, chop on this one, chop for the Uber driver, immediate jail time. No chance of parole. And then for Room Mix, she has created this hanky dress. Okay. So she used no supplemental fabric, which is great. I love that she was able to make the original costume work for her. That shows that she can sew. The thing about Drag Race in sewing challenges is that it's not necessarily about your construction skills. It's about how you style and pair things and how you present it. And all of that was kind of bad. This is impoverished couture, I fear. It's a head scratcher of a look because design-wise it doesn't make sense. It's got this huge shawl cape situation, which is on brand for Kate, but it's not extremely complimentary to the look because there's essentially a color block mini dress. Where is this woman going? Mess Town. Why is she going there? Is she burying any taste that she had left in the middle of the desert? Why is there this huge asymmetrical hunter green on her left side? Why are there random shards of that color scattered through the breast and skirt in unflattering shapes? And I think this could have been a cool patchwork look had everything been cut in interesting shapes. There's patchwork inspiration, and then there's this. I'm getting into the technical details of this look because they're much more obvious to me than in any of the looks previous, and all the things that are wrong with it are glowing. A lot of the other looks previous, and even the ones that come after this, don't really have any issues that you can see clearly because those issues are not highlighted. This look takes a giant arrow and points at every single problem and says, look at this, look at this, look at that, look at this. Here's where I lost control of this garment. I think it would have been smarter to make that mini dress in a solid green supplemental fabric and then used the pops of color from that hanky material on both sides to retain as much of it as possible and create an interesting sort of hourglass shape. Cutting up a hanky style fabric like that I think is very unpleasing to the eyes because you do have several different patterns that are existing that are at odds with each other and it doesn't work. So this whole thing is a chop and I don't understand why she wasn't bottom 3. Maybe they thought that Kate would lose a lip sync and go home and they didn't want to risk that this soon because in my opinion I don't think Zahira or Sminty are necessarily on the mood board to go to the finale. I think that Kate is that girl, and I don't think they wanted to risk that so soon. Minty is up next, and for RuDemption, she's doing her Let There Be Light look. I did not like her original Let There Be Light, and I loved this. She has an automatic wow factor because she has a glow effect when the lights come down. So that's always exciting because Drag Race wants a little bit of a surprise on the runway. It's super showgirl, super sexy, very different from Minty than what I expected from her this season. It's another inverted color palette, which I adore. And in my opinion, it's a true redemptive moment. However, this was a pretty quick walk segment. I was confused why there was almost no B-roll and why they didn't elongate the amount of time she was out there for. It was like, hey, it's Minty Fresh. All right, and move on. And then for Mix, I know y'all Minty fans stay popping off, but just remember, I am not the one to pop off to. This is terribly constructed and styled. Like, what the was she thinking? God, it's bad. Especially after looking at the success of the Let There Be Light runway. I appreciate that she wanted to take the latex concept and create this sort of wind-blown dress effect. But here's where I get lost. The latex is crinkled oddly. It's cut by this sharp, satiny white fabric like semen in an oil spill. What do the spikes have to do with the original look or her personal style? Where is this going? It's not quite punk and it's not quite couture. You couldn't see this on a red carpet. You couldn't see this for any runway category. Like, this is such a go home sewn look. Maybe in the right fabrics, a bit more time, maybe proper tacking and draping, this could have been more red carpet ready. Even with the spikes that are kind of incongruent with the rest of the look, because the lengths are awkward on the skirt, the bust is choppy, that white cut is not very flattering to the black parts. Probably the most interesting part of this is the headpiece. And that's not even half the look, it's just 10% of it. And even that doesn't make sense with the rest of it. It's a chop, very bottom 3 worthy. I know a lot of folks on the internet are confused why this was bottom 3, but it is so obviously bottom 3, despite her Let There Be Light being such a success, especially because she fought for this look and then didn't execute it well. If you're gonna make a big play, you have to follow through, and she didn't. Zahira Zapanta is the next, and for RuDemption, she's doing her House of Cards cocktail look. This is so goddamn hot. She did not need to dog walk the girls in this category so severely. I will say, And this goes for a lot of the girls, and I should have said this earlier. I love when they do a redemption runway and it's a construction challenge look. Here's what my look would have been if I had pre-made it and brought it to Drag Race rather than made it there. It tickles me pink, but I have no problems with it. It's just funny. This gorgeous green velvety dress was super luxurious to look at. I love the shape of the hips and those shoulders. The rhinestoning is impeccable on the sides and on those chips. God, it's a slay. And for Rumix, this is everything I want from a transformation because Zahira, this is everything. The shape is luxe. She created really interesting lines on the breasts and played with asymmetry and color blocking in a way that I think all the other queens were trying to do but were not on target for. The original look was, I think, for Maria Felix. And I think that Valentina would love this because it's a nice departure from her diva Maria, and I think it blends a lot of Zahira's personality into it. This is gorgeous. It's a very strong week. I do wish that maybe there was some breast padding because those cups came outwards and there was nothing to fill them, but that's such a minor detail. I think that Zahira was very high. This was a good week for her. Slays for this gorgeous piece. I think she used the fabrics well to tell a solid story on the runway. Fontana is next, and for RuDemption, she's doing My Life as a Golden Girl. Originally, Fontana did this silver look, which was kind of off topic for the category. And if I remember right, this was meant to be an old lady, like a golden girl. I'm telling Laganja I want golden girls. I do wish that maybe she did a runway look that wasn't such a specific theme because as a self-proclaimed Drag Race historian, I wanted this to be old lady mug and it wasn't that. Granted, this fountain look is stunning. I love the elegance and the movement of the dangly coin because that shape is fun and exciting. I think she looks hot in red hair. It's just not a glow up of the original. It is a slay though. I'm just being a stickler here. And then for Rumix, stop this Fontana. Oh my God, she did the damn thing. I love how she made this into a mini dress and retained the hood silhouette of the original look. Clock the belt, clock the boots, clock those half sleeves. This is custom, baby. It is so modern pop diva. I am obsessed. How dare she do this on the runway? I think she easily could have won the challenge for this look alone, and how she kept Kate in the look, but also made it Fontana. Slay. And Mariah is last up. For RuDemption, she is doing my favorite body part from season 3. I don't see the elevation at all, sadly. The shape is kind of bad in my opinion, and I was surprised that they were so positive towards this look. It looks like the lip sync loofah that the divas wear before they come out to I'm Every Woman, and then drop it to reveal a sequin column dress. This massive organza is a bit unpleasant to look at in my humblest opinion, and I think when she lowers it to reveal the bra and high-waist skirt under it, none of that is exciting or transformative from the original look. It's very similar too, and there is something to say that it's a almost redemption, but it's just a mess of fabrics. She looks gorgeous in these colors, but that can't be the only reason that she was high. And in my opinion, her Love Your Skin You're In was already a considerable glow up from the look that she's referencing here, maybe in another timeline. Even if that wasn't the runway category, it was very similar. I think there are other looks that Mariah could have redone, especially from All Stars 5. This is a choppy for me, I'm sorry. You are the other Mimi. And then for Rumix, oh, Mariah. I am shocked that the judges like this. It's a mess of fabrics. And dare I say, I liked the original look better. I like the high-low of it all, but it's giving Amanda's bird nest look without the eggs. The way the judges turned up to this made me think I was crazy because there are these plumes of shredded tulle that are dragging off the sides. I do like the application of those roses, and I can't believe that she was able to forage so many from that hat. The original look was a bridesmaid's runway from Canada 4 at the Rusical, perhaps. It is definitely giving bridesmaid and how tacky it looks, but it's missing the Glamtron 5000. I hate it. It's a chop. This was bottom 3 for me. And this year, there are new UK rules. After critiques, Ru is going to call a winner and then a bottom 3, and they're essentially duping Canada's Drag Race Beaver format. Except they've got something called the Chippy Tea.
Chippy Tea!
Which Kate tried to explain to Godland in the most awkward way possible, and it suddenly became much less funny. And this is a great mechanism, but I'm just confused on the device they used because they already had the lucky cow from UK6. I always appreciate when the girls get to fight for themselves. One of my biggest problems with Drag Race UK, even Canada versus the world in season 1, is that these girls sort of incidentally know each other because they've got a Drag Race branded name, not because they've actually seen each other's seasons or know what each other can do. So choosing someone to go home is based on split decisions that may or may not be regretted within the next 24 hours. Allowing the girls to fight for themselves, to save themselves from the bottom, I think is a much better alternative than to have some random that doesn't know you send you home and choose your fate. In my personal opinion, I think that Kate, Minty, and Mariah were the bottom 3, and in my opinion, Zahira, Godland, and Fontana were the top 3. I was a bit confused because during critiques, the safe queens are made to stay on the main stage, and I never quite understand why they force them to be up there when their opinion quite literally has zero sway or effect or bearing on the outcome of who's gonna go home. But then on seasons where they do have to vote, like in season 6 and 8, they send the queens to Untucked even though they're voting and don't get to hear the critiques. Like, what? Godlin has called this a winner, and being in the top 2 weeks in a row is correct. And the bottom 3 that she has to choose to save are either Melinda, Naomi, or Minty. I completely understand why Minty is there. Naomi's first look, I think, balanced out how bad the second look was, and I can understand what she was dealing with those rhinestones. With Melinda, I think that both looks were fine. They weren't necessarily groundbreaking, but they weren't bad, where I think Kate and Mariah had objectively bad parts to their looks. And I was wondering too if maybe they were hoping that maybe she would save someone else and let Minty lip sync for her life, considering that Minty kind of sabotaged her earlier in the episode. But Godlin takes the high road and wants to save Minty because they're gonna be sisters. They represent culture that is often underrepresented, especially on Drag Race. And this leaves Melinda Verga and the only Naomi to battle it out to I Begin to Wonder by Danny Minogue. I gotta say, I missed the insanity of Melinda Verga lip syncing. And this lip sync was so bad that it spun around into somehow iconic. Both of them were messes. Mother Melinda did not really know the words, and Naomi tried to do this backbend and fell on her head. This was a one-way ticket to the mess town, but ultimately Ru decides to save the only Naomi. And with that, they eliminated the RuPaul of Canada. Sucks. Melinda was gooped, and I love that she immediately snatched that wig off her head. Like, that was so real. That's why she's Mother. I almost felt like when Melinda was asked earlier in the week why she couldn't take critiques on her original season, that was a setup that she was gonna go home hell or high water. Like, she was very clearly being painted as a difficult contestant that Ru just didn't want to deal with. And also I think they didn't want Melinda to sweep Snatch Game like I know she would have next week. Speaking of which, next week is the Miss Snatch Game pageant. Maybe it'll be better than the Family Feud style they've done over the last few years, which I think were booger. And I'm kind of hoping that they'll take some beats from Slasion Royale and adjust the Snatch Game, because I think what they did in Drag Race Philippines was the nicest and kindest thing they could have done to multilingual ESL queens who all have different backgrounds and humor points of view. I hope this one is good. What were your thoughts on this week's episode? Who did you think deserved to be in the bottom, and who do you think deserved the win? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much to all of my Extravaganza Extra members for supporting this channel. If you'd like to check that out, that is right below next to the subscribe button. I will be continuing to review Drag Race Season 18, so feel free to check that out. And next week, thank you for watching, and I will see you all on the flip.